Welcome, Blue Jay fans. Welcome to another episode of Talking Jays. I'm your host, George Long. A little bit of a background with Talking Jays. This is something I started about a year ago, last December. I see we're in episode 23 now. I haven't done an episode in about 6 months. Once the season starts, I'll stay tuned in, do a couple of podcasts while the season's starting. But once she gets into it, I kind of put it away and just kind of focus on the games, watch the games. This is the best part, best time of the year, of talking baseball is in the off season because it's your wishes, it's your hopes, the additions, the subtractions, things like that. I love talking about it and see who's going to join the team, who's leaving the team, which players may be on their way out for deals, and which players may be coming in. So that's what I do with Talking Jays. It's going to be a weekly podcast every Friday night. Post on, tune into my YouTube channel of Talking Jays. Listen to some points about the Jays off season. We'll talk different talks. We'll talk about the international pool and things like that, and talk about who the Jays have in the system internationally, who they drafted last year. Just who's in the system and talk about them and who's progressing, who's digressing, things like that. So that's what I like to do. So that's it. Every Friday night, tune in, jump on the YouTube channel. If you're off the weekend, Saturday morning, instead of watching your cartoons, tune in to Talking Jays and give me 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your time and listen to it. If you don't have the attention span to listen to all 30 minutes, then hey, watch the first 15, put it on pause, put it away, and then tune in Sunday morning or whatever. So it just, and then hit that like button that if you do like the podcast, so it keeps me encouraged to keep doing it. So do that if you can. That'd be great. So right now we're in the off season. It's the December 3rd, Friday night. We're currently in work stoppage with MLB. So if we can't, have baseball games, can't sign players, can't trade players, we'll do the next best thing. We'll talk about it. Talk about who may join the team possibly. Talk about the rumors, things like that. Talk about who I may want, who I don't want, and you could voice your opinions down in the comment section. Whether you agree with me or disagree, thumbs down, thumbs up, whatever you want to do, that's fine by me. So we're just here talking ball. So in the off season so far, we did sign Kevin Gausman, who I'll give a thumbs up to the Gausman signing. If you ask me who I wanted between Gausman and Ray, I would have took Gausman for the 5 years over Ray. I know there wasn't much difference in money. I know everybody's all up in arms about the Robbie Ray non-sign. But if you rewind the tape, go back a year ago, and if somebody said, a year ago, who would you rather, Gausman or Robbie Ray for 5 years? 99% would have took the Gausman, because I remember when Ray signed last year. A lot of folks when he did re-sign back with the Jays for another year, there was a lot of meh. Okay, that's another arm in the bullpen. But now they're just all up in arms because of the Cy Young season. So let's not put one season, all end, the end. Players come, players go. Kevin Gausman's putting up numbers the last 3 years. He's got great numbers. So that's, to me, I think Gausman. That's who the Jays wanted. One of them 2 years ago. Would have offered him a contract last year if he didn't take the qualifying offer. So they got their guy. Another guy they got is Yimi Garcia for the bullpen. Great addition. I love Garcia. Blue Jay fans, going into last season, bullpen was probably our weakest spot of all our positions. So now they got Simber in there, Richards, who they didn't have at the start of last year. You can find bullpen pieces during the season. If they don't sign another bullpen piece this year, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with going into the season with this bullpen. You can find a bullpen arm during the year like they proved last year. Another signing, like I said, Gausman, and Brios. We never had Brios started last year, so you got a good 1-2 punch now at the top with Gausman and Brios. You put in Ryu now down there in the 3 spots. That's a good 1-2-3. If you're leading the charge in the postseason, I would take my chances any day of the week. You back that up with Manoah, Pearson. Now, I said 2 years ago, Pearson was the wild card in all of this. For these Blue Jays to be successful. I've simmered down a bit about that, but he could have been such a deal breaker for these Blue Jays this past year if he was healthy. So the ifs and I've always said great arm, stuff like that, or a great player, but can't help you when he's up in the press box with injuries. So staying on the field is a big, big thing with Pierce, and hopefully he can stay on the field because he's got the stuff. He's got it. So hopefully he can stay healthy. So pitching staff I'm okay with. Bullpen I'm okay with right now. The thing that I'm worried about now is just the lineup construction. Now, I know we can score runs. I know all that. But I'm talking about the fine-tuning parts of the game. I'm talking about the 7th inning, the 8th inning. When you're trying to add on runs or trying to tie a ball game, you have the other team's bullpen coming in with those righty specialists to shut the Blue Jays down. And I've seen it time in and time out again this past year, right? The fine-tuning parts of the game. I don't look at the game as a whole. You got to break it down sometimes. The last 3 innings and at bats, and just see sometimes it was, I know Teoscar could hit the heck out of the ball, but when you're facing O'Day and guys like that, Nick Anderson, players like that with these devastating sliders, kills right-handed batters. So I just think we just make it a little too easier for the opponents when it gets down to those crunch times in the games. Heading into a postseason, if I was an opponent of the Blue Jays and I had to put my pitching staff together, I wouldn't even have a lefty pitcher in my bullpen or even start any games against the Blue Jays who are left-handed. Which left-handed bat last year scared you? Biggio barely played last year. They picked up Dickerson halfway during the year. He doesn't scare anybody. He's not a real threat. Good ball player. I like him, but I believe he's gone this year now. Anyways, he's a free agent, I believe. Valeria, Palacios, they're left-handed bats. They didn't scare me last year. So, Rowdy was the power lefty last year, but they moved him for Richards, I believe, in the bullpen. So they have no lefty threat in their lineup, and they got to get some left-handed threat in their lineup. You look at the Yankees last year. Yankees made it to the wild card game, and I believe it was because of the I'm drawing a blank. Joey Gallo, who's a left-handed bat, and Rizzo, left-handed bat. I believe that's what got them into that wild card game because they're right-handed heavy, just like the Jays are. They picked up those 2 lefties midway, and Gallo struggled big time. But it's not about. Sometimes it's not about that production. Sometimes it's that threat, and Gallo has a high on base percentage, walks a lot, and that's just a threat. Pitchers are you put the fear of God facing a Joey Gallo, whether he's struggling or not, and it's a fear of God that he's a left-handed bat. They can pull that ball out of the ballpark. Blue Jays don't have that left-handed power threat. They just don't, and I believe that was the difference of last year between the Yankees and the Blue Jays is they picked up these 2 players. And it put them over the top. It solidified the lineup a little bit better, even though both guys didn't perform great or carried them, I should say. But it's the threat of having left-handed bats in your lineup, and I believe that's what the Blue Jays need. So if you take a look, I'm going to show you right quick the Jays in their system right now catching one. Oh yeah, the other left-handed bat was Reese McGuire. Doesn't scare me. Doesn't scare anybody. So this is our catchers, all righties. Take a look at the infield. Biggio, the only lefty that's in the plans right now. Take a look here. The outfield. Valeria, I believe, he's a free agent this year. So they still have Palacios. Again, not a threat left-handed. So I just don't think. Actually, not think. I know they have to get some left-handed bats. If they end up getting Michael Brantley last year, I think that would have put them over the top. That was the rumor. He ended up going back to Houston. So lefty bat in your lineup would have did them just great. So the lineup construction has to be a little bit better. So if you're bringing in left-handed bats, which guys are leaving your team, right? So if you take a look at the Jays lineup last year, you'll see I just threw Biggio on the bottom there. I know Espinal played more probably than Biggio last year, so it was an all-righty batting order. They ended up getting Dickerson, sliding him in and out last year, things like that. Not a huge, significant deal, in my eyes, anyways. Nice piece, great bench piece. Great guy to have on your bench, but to come in to pitch hit. But who do you pitch hit for? Who do you pick? Like it may make sense to pitch him for Bichette or Hernandez or Guerrero because it's righties against lefties. Well, not Guerrero, but righties against lefties. And so, but when do you do? Who's going to pull the trigger and pulling out one of those guys to put Dickerson into the pinch hit situation? Are you going to pull Bichette because he's right-handed? No, you're not going to pull him, but you still need some balance to the lineup. Which if you bring in two lefties. So right now Simeon is gone, obviously. So there's a left-handed spot in the lineup that you could bring somebody in, whether it's a second baseman, whether it's a third baseman, a DH. If you want a full-time DH, bring somebody in like a Kyle Schwarber. What would Kyle Schwarber do in this batting order right here with Simeon out? You slide Schwarbs in. There's a start piece right there. I'm not saying go get him, but I'm just saying that could be the type of player that the Blue Jays need. Schwarb's he's still young. You offered this. He accepted, I think, last year a 1-year contract or 2-year I think with Nashville, or was it 1 year? Or not Nashville, Nationals. 1 or 2 anyway. So he's signing shorter deals. He doesn't have a lot of leverage for a long-term deal right now. So if you could sign the Schwarber for 2 years, maybe third with an option, be him as your full-time DH. I know managers and front offices, they love that DH spot for roaming, for guys off, so they get them off their feet and throw them in. I'm not one for that. If you want to give a guy a day off, give him a day off. Just pull him out of the lineup, sit him down, have a full-time DH. Get back to that. Kyle Schwarber in there, game in and game out as your DH, I think would be great for these Blue Jay teams. I'm not saying Schwarber's the answer. I'm saying he could be a piece. All depends on how the Blue Jays look at this DH role. To me, that's what I would sign him, slot him as your full-time DH, and then you can work around that. Maybe find a third baseman, second baseman who's left-handed, who's the hot topic is J-Ram right now for third base. He makes so much sense. His contract's not high. Still have control. Great hitter. D8 or MVP, kind of a top 10 player the last few years. So you have to give up some prospects, or sorry, some pieces. Gurriel could be a piece like that, where you're swapping one good hitter for another good hitter. Gurriel you have under control a little longer and a lot cheaper. The Jays signed him for a nice contract a few years ago. But you're going to have to give up something to get something, whether it's their catching prospects or anything like that. So I know right now Cleveland is dying for catching. So I know they lost Roberto Perez this year, free agency. I believe Pittsburgh signed him, so they're hurting for a catcher. But we'll take a look at. Let's take a look right here. Voila. We're going to take a look at some free agent left-handed bats. Bats. And you can see, I'm going to try and pull all these lefties up here if I can, if it let me select it. She is pretty slow out in the fort. Come on, there we go. That's some switchies. Switchies the same as a lefty to me. But there's not a lot. There we go. So you can see your left-handed batters here. Matty Carpenter. Do you want a 36-year-old Matt Carpenter manning your 33-year-old? Probably not. Freddie Freeman. Braves ain't letting him get away. I know there's rumors with the Yankees. Rumor with the Jays, too. I've seen that. But I can't see the Braves letting him go. Can't see him even wanting to leave. So Kyle Seager, do you want a 38? Is that 38? Yeah, no, 34-year-old Kyle Seager. Possibility to man third base. He's got some pop in his bat. You're gonna pay him $20 million a year. It's not for my money. Michael Conforto, nice left-handed hitter. Again, another $20 million. Kyle Schwarber, who I talked about early, he's only 28 years old. Market value is 12. You could get that done if you really want to go that route. There's Chris Dickerson, Corey Dickerson, as I mentioned earlier. Eddie Rosario, Jacques Peterson's another DH possibility. Left-handed bat, scary. But there's a Rizzo. Brad Miller, Steve Voigt, Brett Gardner, who 2 years ago I would have signed him. Not now, but I like Brett Gardner's leadership and teach these young guys, the game. I don't think the young guys need teaching anymore. I think they are on their way. So would I be disappointed if they got Brett Gardner? No, he wouldn't be a big piece for the team. He'd still be a leader. Mitch Moreland, first base. No, don't think so. So if you take a look at some of those left-handed batters that are free agents, there's not much there. Brian Talk or Mike Talkman or Gausman. There's your old buddy Billy McKinley. So we're taking a look at some of these lefties, and there's nothing there. There's nothing on the free agent that's going to help this team, I don't believe, going forward. So I would nix any of those free agents. Maybe Michael Conforto. You see an outside chance if you can get rid of Grichuk, bring in Conforto. I like him. He's a nice left-handed bat in your lineup. He's consistent contact. I think he could pop in the close to 30 homers. But for me, Kyle Schwarber in your DH spot just says something to me anyway. So that's what I would do. So your lineup construction is a big deal right now, and I think the Jays got to fix it. I really do, and I think they're aware of it. Get it done, guys. Fix that lineup. Get a good balance. That's the word of the day today, boys and girls. Balance. Balance that lineup. It is too right heavy. Like I said, the Yanks last year proved, and they were almost down and out, and then they made that deal and brought in those lefties, and it turned them right around. Not turned them right around, but it turned the ship a little bit. So balance. You can't be all right-handed. It just makes your opponents, it just makes it so much easier for them. You talk to Red Sox with righty-lefty bats. Verdugo and Devers on the left side, and then JD and Bogarts with the right-handed. There's a balance there, and who thought the Red Sox were going to make it to the postseason last year? They were a wild card team. Who thought they were going to get there? But again, it was that balance, that balance in the batting order. Mind you, those four guys are pretty scary with Kiki at the top, things like that. Those are four scary batters. So, but again, right lefty. The Houston Nationals, right left. The Braves, the Dodgers, all these teams, they have balance throughout the lineup. So the Jays right now are a little unbalanced. Can score runs with the best of them, but it's not about the team who scores the most runs. It's about the teams who get the wins. And sometimes in those 7th, 8th innings, 9th innings, there's where those wins come up. So let's balance the Blue Jays up a bit more, and let's find a couple of good lefty bats, and you're on your way. So I said last year, I was surprised they made the postseason. I was going to be surprised if they made the postseason last year. They did make it. They came up short. I was surprised they got as close as they did because I projected 88 wins. I said years 23 and 24 are their years for championships, to challenge for championships. So the season coming is 22. So I said they'll make the postseason in 22, and I still believe they will make the postseason in 22. I don't know if they're World Series contenders yet. I believe in 23, 24 they will be by the time they get there. It takes some time to build it. But I believe they're postseason bound this year. I said last year they weren't, and they didn't make the postseason. They were close, but this year I'm saying they will make postseason. So, but right now, if you want to balance that lineup, that could maybe sway me to think you're championship contenders if you get the right left-handed bats in that lineup. Maybe like I said, a J Ram, somebody like that. So I'll leave it go there. I'll see you next week. Next Friday, we'll talk about Gausman and Ray. We'll do some little comparison, and then we'll get into some nitty-gritties about what the Jays have in their farm, things like that. So I will talk to you next week. All right, boys and girls, see you then. Bye-bye.